I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another paid request, this time for Jay. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2021 film Wrath of Man. Now, this is directed by Guy Ritchie and it stars Jason Statham. Josh Hartnett is in it from The Faculty, Halloween H2O. Been a while since been a minute since I've seen Josh Hartnett. To the point that I stuttered. Other people I recognize, Andy Garcia's in it for a little bit. He was in a lot of films back in the day. The Untouchables being one of them with Kevin Costner. Jeffrey Donovan, he's probably most famous for this TV show called Burn Notice with him and Bruce Campbell. He was also in Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. He's in the film. Scott Eastwood, he's in the movie pretty much as your villain. Now, I enjoyed this film. Yes, a new film I enjoyed. Because I thought Guy Ritchie did a great job filming it. I think the cinematography, it's a good looking movie. And it was a story that kept me, overall, probably not the most original story. The way it was told, the way it was done, it kept me interested to see where it was going and what would happen next. Where, like the very first scene is you're a POV inside an armored car as it's being taken over. And you see from inside with the two guys through the windshield, what's going on here. Someone's trying to get the door open. And the camera never cuts. It's the whole time. So you're with these men as they're being overtaken by whoever these guys are. You find out later who they are. And then you're with Jason Statham, who gets hired for the security job. And he meets his team, including Josh Hartnett, among others. And in a way, they did a nice job establishing the in and outs of the armored car business to the point it was actually kind of interesting to see the daily duties. Maybe because, again, the way Guy Ritchie was utilizing the camera, how good, and they definitely had a bit of a budget behind it. The shots looked, the cast seemed very capable, and the way that, they're goofing on each other, and Jason Statham, being his Stathamist, as the others are giving each other crap, while he's the new guy. And then a robbery takes place, and then Statham just John Wicks their asses. And you're like, what the fuck? And then months later, you have these other guys, they try to rob him, and they see his face, and they run away. And then, this might be one of those things I don't remember the trailer. I might have seen the trailer, but by the time I had seen this film, I completely forgot about it. I think if you see the trailer, though, it's gonna be one of those that ruins all the twists in the movie. So I would say don't watch the trailer. In fact, you could say don't watch most trailers. But if you did, I mean, I don't know if you would have the same experience. But again, it's not that it was incredibly surprised. I never saw it coming. But like, oh, okay, I did, cool. The way the story's being told, some people describe it like Pulp Fiction, where it'll go like different, like 3 months later, and then some time will pass, and then it'll be 5 months before, and then 3 weeks later, like going through different time periods within the span of these 5 or 6 months. But I thought they did that reasonably, like every 30 minutes. And it never got confusing. That's another thing. It never did it to a point where I was confused as to where I'm at with the story. And again, while it's not a complete, like, oh my god, twist, but like, oh, okay, I see where it's going. I see where it's going. And I thought Jason Statham did a good job. Yes, he's playing more of the Stone Cold Statham. But what I liked about it is that this is a guy who had that feeling of you don't want to mess with this guy. That his men in his other business give him very proper respect. How there are people that fear him. Or idea like when they saw him, they're like, oh, run away. And now this is a guy that you just like, don't mess with this guy. Just don't mess with this guy at all. I thought it was a decent told story. I do wish at times it was more brutal. I do wish at times it was a bit more violent and visceral. I will say that, especially in the third act. That's one of the few complaints I have. I wish it was a bit more just violent and visceral and gory, bloody. How much do I give away? It's not wall-to-wall action. If you go in expecting Crank 2, Transporter 2, that kind of Jason Statham film, it's not. It's more of a... It's a heist movie. There are little bits of action, which I'm sure they gave everything away in the trailer. So I guarantee it's one of those, if you saw it in the trailer, you saw it in the movie. Like, you saw all the action in the movie. Because trailers don't... They need to change that. Yes, I know they did that back in the day as well, but something needs to change. Here's what you do with a movie trailer. You take the movie, you advertise the first half of the movie. You don't show a fucking thing about the second half. Because if you can't sell your movie on the first half, then you fucked up. And trailers don't need to be 2.5, 3 minutes long. They can be a minute. They can be a minute and 15. They can be a minute and 20. You give like a beginning setup of the movie. Maybe one or two high points in the first half. And then when people see the second half, they'll see it on the first time on that big screen or on that VOD screen. They should start incorporating that. I really do. I think they would get a lot more improvement. Because when everything's spoiled in the trailer and then you watch the movie, you go, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, it's that part, yeah. Okay, that's that part. Okay, now didn't go as I thought the trailer seemed like it was going to go. So that's what you're thinking instead of being invested in the movie. Or you just don't watch any trailers, you go into movies blind. Now, they get more into spoilers. When he does his John Wick thing, some people are like, I don't know about this guy. Other people are like, hey, this guy did a really good job. And I like the moment where he sleeps with this lady and then threatens her because there's all this money. And just how he threatens her is such a cool but cold manner that you just like, yep. He's not doing anything repugnant, but this is the guy you don't mess with and don't fuck around. when it does change, there's certain moments that it has title cards. I guess I was fine with it. I don't know if it was really needed, but I guess I was fine with it the more I think about it. It didn't really bother me too much. It's like, okay. So then we're 5 months earlier. This is spoilers. And we seen this robbery that happened that they keep talking about. This hijacking, I should say. This hijacking. And Statham, during his training, was shown this video. But then it's 5 months before you realize on that day, Statham was there with his son. And Statham was on a job, just recon. The hijack was happening over here. His son was forced to come out, got shot. Then Statham got shot. Then he was in a hospital. And then with his underworld connections and his goons, which I thought this scene went a bit too long. It's like, we gotta find him. We gotta find him. We're over here, dead end. We got this guy, and we threatened this, the guy's girl. It leads to another place, and it didn't really go anywhere either. It's a dead end. It's like all these underage girls. I do like the bit where Statham's like, all these sick fucks, give the money to them, and give the money to these girls. I can't do Statham. I can't do his accent. Give the money to these girls and get them out of here. I can't do it. But looking through the underworld, they don't really get into how he makes it. No, I guess one of his friends and goons says, we can't find these guys. It has to be some kind of inside job. And then that gets Statham to do it. I mean, it was interesting because it showcases Statham's power, and just, again, this is a guy to be feared. Like, his friends, his goons, like, fear him, but they respect him. And you do, again, it's not an action-packed sequence. I just think it could be cut down. Like, I don't think you even needed the scene where they grab this black guy, and then they have the black girl, and they try to suffocate her, and then he says a name. That all could be cut out, and you could just go from, we heard something, to being in it's not a club, but it's like these sickos filming underage porn, and like, literally you could go to someone having a phone call, and then go to there. It's like, we search everywhere. So I do think there's, like, the scene I mentioned, that could be cut out. You can keep the scene I mentioned because it has that cool moment where Jason Statham just another case of showcasing his wrath, hence the title. So that bit I didn't mind. But it's like, again, the bit with the guy and his girl, and they beat him up, and he says a name. I'm like, that all could be cut out, and you have like one simple phone call. Hey, I think we got a name. Again. And that would help with the pacing a little bit. Yeah, one of the few nitpicks I have with it. Because it'll go to, that was kind of interesting part of the story. It goes to these different point of views where, like, it's the point of view inside the truck that gets hijacked. Then it's the point of view of Jason Statham as we, the viewer, are going into this armored car facility, meeting these people for the first time. And so we're in the same boat as Statham when he's meeting these people for the first time, his first impressions on them. And then the point of view of, oh, this is Statham's background. Then we get the point of view of the team that did a hijacking, their point of view, where they're a former military team, which remind me a little bit of Extreme Prejudice, which I would put above this, but Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte, because that was also about a former military team that will do heists and stuff, but that had like Michael Ironside and I think William Forsythe, but it's like a military team, which I thought would be more villainous, because the trailer made it seem like they would be much more villainous than they are in the movie. That's kind of That was a disappointment I had when I saw Extreme Prejudice. I still liked the film, but the trailer sold me on a different movie than what I got. At least the teaser, I should say, the one teaser that had music from Rambo. I mean, that teaser kind of sold me a different movie. But this is where you get, it's about 6 people or so, including Scott Eastwood, Jeffrey Donovan, who's the captain, and others. And you get their background. They rob one place, it's not enough, they decide to rob this one place. Then they decide to hit the depot, Black Friday. And anyway, this whole armored truck, the facility, the day-to-day life, when it was centered on that seemed like the most interesting to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way it's filmed, maybe the way the people talk with each other. To know how that really works, because you see that a lot in movies, the armored trucks and where they get the money from and to. But not a whole lot of movies I see the inner workings of it, so that was kind of interesting to me. I can't really explain why. I thought the finale was nice. It's more trying to be realistic than escapism. Like, it's trying to be more Michael Mann's Heat than, say, Commando or Rambo 2 or Hard Target. Granted, that's what I prefer. This is just cup of tea preference. But I still like this as well. Like, I like Michael Mann's Heat with the robbery, the shootout scenes. I like this here, where the military team are in this cool-looking body armor, head to toe. Statham just kicked a little bit of ass. Like I said, I do wish it was a bit more brutal. Like, there's a point where he stabs a guy in the neck, but you don't really see much of it. Would have been nice if, yes, a bit of gratuitous gore, like the knife digging in or something, or you see the knife, or him just really digging into it, or stabbing, or like he shoots a guy. It would have been nice to see like blood squib. Even more so, that title, this is Wrath, Wrath of Man. But instead, it's on Statham's face. I'm like, dude, it's not edited for TV. It's not PG-13. Gratuitous is fine at some points. I do like the bit, though, that he gets blasted because he wears the armor, and then when he takes it off, because it took a piece of the helmet off and it hit some of his face. So, like, some of his face is scarred up, and he's like... That was pretty badass. Like, he's able to get one guy in the neck. I'm trying to think, like, again, this is spoilers. So he choked one, to death. He shot one point blank. There's one he stabbed in the neck. So that's 3. Oh, one was shot up before and died of it, I think Josh Hartnett finished the job. Then they had the inside man, so you gotta add that in, so that's 3. Okay. Josh Hartnett, I liked seeing him in a movie again, because I don't mind him. I even don't mind him in Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford. I know I'm alone in that, but I did like that movie. I liked him in The Faculty. I wouldn't say he's one of the best actors, but I liked him. It was cool to see him again. It sucks what happened to his character. Because I liked that by the end. At the beginning, when you first see him, when things are going up, and this is before Statham does his John Wick act, he's very scared. By the end, he finally gets some balls, some cojones, but sadly ends up with his... he's able to take one guy out, but because of the insider turncoat, he gets killed. I'm like, that sucks. I didn't like... It didn't ruin the movie for me, but it's like, that sucks. I would not have minded if he lived. And then when they escape, Scott Eastwood fucks over some of his cohorts. He thinks he got away with it, and there's Statham. And I do like the bit where... Because you see this title card... Was it... Lung, Spleen, Heart. What was the first one? Is it kidneys? I can't remember. I think it's like kidneys or something. Spleen, lungs. No, it was something. Lungs, spleen, and heart. The title card. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, when Statham, he showed the guy, this is what happened to my son. These are the bullets that he took. And I'm going to do the same to you. Boom. Then one in the lungs, one in the spleen, one in the heart. Even that could have looked more brutal. I don't know what it is. Like, people can't do blood squibs anymore. I think that might even have much more of a wrath impact where he's like... But I could barely see, if there's CGI, I could barely see it anyway. I'm like, this is rated R, right? You don't have to... You could be a bit more brutal, Guy Ritchie. I'm not saying it's gotta be fucking Peter Jackson Dead Alive or something, but a little bit more brutal. But, you know, it was satisfying because the guy gets his just desserts, and I like the idea behind it. Like I say, Andy Garcia, he's in it for like 2 scenes. But it's nice to see Andy Garcia. It's too bad he's not in the film more. And like I said, I'm watching, I'm like, okay, this is a well-filmed movie. It's a well-handled, you know, the action scenes are well-handled. The story's interesting enough to keep me intrigued to see where it's going. Statham, I thought, did a good job. Granted, you could say he didn't have to do much, but I thought what he did was handled fairly well. I mean, despite what I say, I wish it is more brutal. It's still more of an edge than like what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is doing with Jungle Cruise, Skyscraper, Jumanji sequels. At least Statham is still doing some of these R-rated movies. I just wish it was more R-rated. But yeah, overall, I liked Wrath of Man. I got into the story. I got into the way it was playing with the time. I actually thought that was done well in this instance. The finale was fairly solid. Again, it's not Commando, it's not Rambo, it's more like in Michael Mann's Heat. As long as you know, it is pretty well handled, executed, camera work is solid, very solid camera work, and interesting. I mean, I liked it more than, what was it, Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman, because I wasn't really a big fan of that film. Revolver I thought was interesting, but a lot of people didn't like it. It was confusing, but like, it's pretty damn interesting. I'm like, it's intriguing story. This is more straightforward than that. And this is a little bit more of an action than Guy Ritchie usually, well, now I'm trying to remember, did he do Sherlock Holmes? So I guess that'd be more action. But like, this is a little bit more R-rated action than usually I would see. Although, you know, a lot of stock in Two Smoking Barrels I liked. They had a bit of action in it. But that was, like, to me, more of a comedy. Which was fine. I liked it. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. Like I said, Wrath of Man I thought was pretty decent. That was a pretty decent. It's not going to be one of my favorite Statham films. But, you know, it's sad. I was looking forward to film The Meg. And that was a film I was disappointed in. I didn't do a rage-heavy rant on it, but it was disappointing. But then this film was better. Go figure. It was better directed. It was better directed and better executed in what it was trying to do. Again, it might not be flawless, but like I say, if you like Jason Statham and you're into, like, a lot of people like that movie Den of Thieves. I like this film more than Den of Thieves. I could not get into that movie. I'm sorry. That film was like, what, 2.5 hours long or so? It felt like it. This is under 2 hours. Yeah, give or take under 2 hours. And I thought the pacing went pretty decent other than that bit in the middle I mentioned. And, yeah. It was better than the John Travolta film I saw, I Am Wrath. If you want to talk about movies with wrath in the title. And the title, for the most part, fit. Again, I just wish it was a bit more bloody and brutal. And I think you really could have synced it home. But that's just me. A little bit more like Punisher brutality to it. Not cartoons like Punisher Warzone, but again, a little bit more brutality. That would have been nice to see. Like even 2004 Punisher, like when you got the knife, and you see the knife in the guy's mouth when it went up, or he took the paper cutter, and it got stuck in the guy's head. Like that bit. Like that's not Peter Jackson blood, but it's brutal enough you go, ooh, yeah. Alright. And then the knife, like, ooh. Like, just those little moments. That would have been nice. Basically, overall, I did like the movie. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.